Hi, Jeff Flamm here. I'm able to interview Aaron Young and talk to him about Unshackled. He's written a New York Times best-selling book called Unshackled, and he's a very, very successful businessman of probably, 30 plus years?
42 years.
42 years. He's from Portland, Oregon, married with 4 children, very successful. And he's had success in several businesses in his life. And what's interesting is he's learned how to hire people that are really great and very competent to where he has the freedom to come to conferences, to speak, to write books, other things, because he's learned how to be an effective leader. And what he's doing now is teaching other people how to do the same. How do you become an effective leader? So, Aaron, tell us a little bit about Unshackled.
Sure. Thanks, Jeff. First of all, so fun to be visiting with you, somebody who's been so accomplished in your life. I think what we would both tell somebody, and maybe the people that are listening, is that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? There are certain formulas that just will work. Have you noticed that in real estate, that when you are developing something, there are certain things that you know about. Start to understand about the codes. You start to understand about the engineering element, so that you can speak intelligently even when you're talking to that engineer or architect. Is that true?
Well, yeah. As you do things, you get better and better, right? And
That's
you
right.
come down with a system. When you find the system that works, that's what you replicate.
That's right. And so since I was 19, actually right before I turned 19, I was 18 when I started my first company that had a payroll. Had 3 employees, had 2 trucks, and off we went. And we built that business, sold it, started another business where I had 5 locations. Sold it. Well, actually, I didn't exactly sell it. Sold part of it, closed part of it when the market changed.
Wasn't it a recycling company or
The
something?
first company was recycling.
Okay.
The second company was cellular phones, clear back in the middle 80s, 1986. Ended up with 5 stores. Then the whole world changed in that industry, so we closed it down, sold off all of our technology, all of our inventory, and then I got hired to help a company that had almost 350 locations all over the world. So now I'm VP of sales of over 350 locations with sales teams in every one of them. Well, you have to start figuring out, how do I manage multiple groups in an efficient way without becoming just some kind of a crazy nut job, right? How are we going to do it? How are we going to know if it's working or not? So I started developing systems early that made it possible. I didn't even know I was doing it at first. That recycling business, we organized it in a way that was easy for somebody else to step in and know what to do. It was organized.
Right.
So it was scalable and duplicatable. I didn't need to know. I had a system, as you just mentioned. Same thing with the cellular phone company. Same thing with the financial services company that was all over the world. We took that company public. And a big reason that under my 3.5 years we were able to quadruple sales worldwide was because I came in with the things I'd learned, that if you just organize things this way, it's easy to get just the most critical feedback from everybody every day, so you can see who's healthy and who's not. If you go to the hospital, and they put you in a bed, they hook you up to that little monitor, and you see your blood pressure and your pulse and your blood oxygen, right? They don't look at every single thing on your body. How fast are your toenails growing? Is your liver processing everything okay? Right? They want to know a few things to say, is this working or not working? Are you okay, or are you in danger? And as business owners, if we're going to grow and scale, and especially if we want to have freedom in our life, which is what I always wanted, what I have to do is, if I have businesses and employees in a variety of places, I need to know every day, are we healthy or are we sick? And by organizing all the pieces that I cover in the book and in the training course about Unshackled, we go through the whole thing. It starts with saying, here's the biggest thing I learned why most entrepreneurs fail. Why they're in like this drudgery of life.
Right.
You know that, right?
Oh, yeah.
People making money, but they're not happy.
Yeah, well, a lot of them have created something, but it's just a job.
It's a job. It's a
job.
Glorified job.
Right.
The first thing we do in the course might seem obvious, but is not typical. which is let's get clear on the end game. Like, where are we going to end up? Right? Mm-hmm. Not, oh, this is cool, let's do it. Oh, I can make some money. Oh, I'll just work on Saturdays now. I'll just work till 8 o'clock tonight, to get bigger. It's like, okay, if we decide where we're going, then we can reverse engineer a path to get there.
Right.
If we always know what the target is, like Mount Everest, right? Okay, there's one of the great human accomplishments is climbing Mount Everest.
Right.
Well, there's not one trail to the top of Mount Everest. And the conditions change too.
Right.
The snow comes and melts, and there's times that are better to climb than other times. It's a moving target, really. The mountain's there, yeah. But the world around that mountain is pretty crazy, and that's why there are people. Actually, now that I'm thinking of it, there's a saying that says the trail up Everest is strewn with the corpses of well-intentioned people. Mm. And all businesses, I think, start well-intentioned.
Right.
But without a guide, without understanding the path, without having the right equipment, without knowing what you're going to do before you start, you run the risk of being one of the corpses, not one of the people up there getting a selfie at the top of the world.
Yeah.
Right?
So you measure along the way, don't you?
Oh my gosh. It's so critical to be measuring measuring, we get so used to saying KPIs, key
right.
performance indicators. Some people, I'll say, show me your KPIs, and they'll show me a list. I'm like, no, let's get this down to like 4 or 5 right. things.
What are the key things?
Yeah, Gary Keller wrote that great book, The One Thing. That said if you do what's the one thing that if you did it would make everything else either easier or unnecessary.
Right.
Right. So if you can get down to one KPI, that's really great. But in our program, we talk about 3 or 4 things. Let's get it boiled down to 3 or 4 things. Yeah. But the biggest goal is, let me just say it without belaboring it. We get clear on the outcome. We get clear on what we should do and what we should not do. Because basically, there's stuff that I'm great at and stuff that I suck at. And I can just admit it. If it's technology, that's not me. If it's accounting, that's not me. I should not do it. And if I do, I'm almost certainly going to do it slow. I'm going to probably do it very poorly.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably make mistakes. And it's going to become a drudgery that I don't want to do. And so then I'll probably ignore something that's really important because it's easier for me to go do something else, right? So we start we dig ourselves into a hole. Most entrepreneurial companies really screw up because the owner, the founder, is trying so hard to keep a grip on everything that they never can just fully blossom with their own genius and then feel comfortable because they've surrounded themselves with 3 or 4 or 5 other geniuses right. that are better than them. If I was going to go into commercial real estate development, I would go to you immediately and say, Jeff, I've got some ability to raise money, or I have money to build a tower or build a hotel or something. Can you partner with me? Because you already know the route.
Right.
You're the Sherpa that's going to get me safely to the top of the mountain because you've done it many, many times. It's my first time. Yeah. You've been up and down that mountain 25 times. You know exactly how to do it. Well, Unshackled is about saying, here's a proven formula that's worked for hundreds and hundreds of companies that have worked directly with me and thousands of companies that have bought the book and applied the principles. Even my editor for the book, the Unshackled book that's in Barnes & Noble and stuff right now, I was asking her some feedback on the book, and she goes, I'm not objective anymore. I said, why do you say that? She goes, well, as I've been editing the book, I've been applying it to all of my other editors. I have about 25 editors, and we're using it now. I was editing your book, and I've applied it in my company. So now I just think it's great. It's hard for me to be objective about, problems with it because it's working. And it's pretty cool because we've had so many success stories, small companies, big companies, 5 employees, 3,000 employees, private company, public companies, Indian reservations, tech companies all over the world that have done stuff. I think I said public and private. And the reason the book even exists is because one of my students who is a tech company owns a tech company in Romania, and when I met him, he heard me speak in London, and he was doing about $1.5 million a year. And within 3.5 years, we had him almost to 50 million. And I said, what happened? He said, I got organized. I started following the formula. And he said, but people in Eastern Europe, by and large, can't afford a course like this, but they can afford a $20 book.
Oh.
So would you be willing to write a book? And I said, why don't we write it together, and it would be what I taught you and how you applied it. And that
makes sense.
That was the genesis of the book.
Okay. Well, I've been, as you mentioned, a developer for years. And so we're building anything from hotels to office buildings to townhouses. And we have a blueprint and a Gantt chart. We follow everything with the key dates and the key things that have to happen. If certain things don't happen, other things can't happen until they do. For example, you can't put in the plumbing or the drywall until the plumbing's in.
Yeah.
So everything has to be done in order. Basically, what you're doing is helping give a guideline to any entrepreneur or business person of what things they need to be looking at that you've learned from yourself and clients and mistakes along the way.
Oh, lots of mistakes.
So you've learned so they can avoid those traps and that they can be doing things efficiently. I've found when I have a guide, there's probably 10 times more likely that I'll succeed. It's more likely if I've got a guide or something I'm following. So basically, you're providing that Unshackled. And what's the tagline under Unshackled?
Well, on the book, it says the 7 steps of business excellence. But what I think of when I talk about Unshackled, I think about build a business that works harder for you than you work for it.
Right.
And I always wanted to own stuff and not have to necessarily work in there all the time. So when you start anything new, you're going to have to pour into it. You're going to have to be there. You're going to have to build the machine. Once the machine is built, most entrepreneurs stay in startup mode, stay kind of micromanaging everybody, stay in the midst of everything. They've got to approve everything. Whereas what I love to do is build it, empower the management team, have a way for me to trust but verify, and then they can just work.
And don't your employees, a lot of them have stayed with you for years?
Forever. Our average.
Just tell us the 1 or 2 things you do to keep employees there.
Yeah, our average tenure, when I bought Laughlin Associates, for instance, we had 300% turnover per year. 300%.
Whoa.
Now our
Expensive.
average tenure is 14 years.
Wow.
And the biggest thing that I learned early is we've got to find the best people that we can afford to hire the best people you can afford, let them make more money than you for a while, live low, hire good people, and then empower them. Let them be creative, let them make mistakes, let them break things once in a while, and then go back and say, okay, why did you make, or not why, what was it that was happening that you made that choice versus the company protocol, right? A lot of times we learn how to do things better than we thought of. If we only rely on our own experience, we'll never grow any bigger than us, right? But if we can get a bunch of smart people that are all excellent in their unique field, in their unique skill set, we can lift very quickly. And the more I empower them and let them be responsible for their stewardship, the more likely they are to stay, but more importantly, for them to start to collaborate and innovate with each other, because there's a community of trust, because they're not always looking over their shoulder going, who's going to get fired, who's going to get yelled at, where's the problem going to come from? Instead, they go, oh, we're a team,
right? And
we've been given the reins, for the wagon here. Like we're gonna lead the horses, we're gonna steer the horses down the road, and I'm just a giant fan of letting really smart people be really smart and grow as big as they can go. And if I let them do that, and all I do is make sure that we're still aimed at the target, that's my job. Are we still on the right track, or did we get diverted? As long as we're on track, good. Keep going, report in. I can challenge them, hold them a little bit accountable, but mostly I let them develop to as big a position as they can. And if they outgrow me, if they outgrow our company, that's great. A lot of people thought I was weird that we pay for college classes for our employees. If it has anything to do with their job, we'll pay for college. And I've had a whole bunch of really good employees leave and go off and do what they really wanted to do in their life, but they worked their tails off for us because we were helping to pay for their education.
Right.
And I tell you, you get a really good employee when you're helping them reach their dream. They're gonna work really hard for you. And when they go, then you celebrate them.
Right.
And say, good, go live your thing. We're gonna bring up this next group.
Right.
And it's okay. It makes for a very positive work environment. It makes for something you don't have to be afraid of or have to be worried about. You know, the whole thing about when the cat's away, the mice will play. No, I want the mice to play because they're not cheating me. They feel excited for the things they're working on, and
That's so great.
that is the best way I've ever figured out how to keep a great team together is let them be a team, and I just show up once in a while to make sure that we're going in the right way.
Now, that's a true leader. That's a true leader. So to wrap this up, how's the best way for people to get a hold of you, Aaron? It's Aaron Young.
Yeah, if you want the book is great. You can go to Barnes & Noble, the stores, you can go to barnesandnoble.com or Amazon or any bookseller and get Unshackled by Aaron Young. Aaron Scott Young, if you're looking it up. And truthfully, if anybody wants to reach me, my email address is aaronyoung@laughlinusa.com. Write me, send me an email. Let's talk. I'd love to help
Spell
anybody.
Laughlin for him.
Oh, yeah. Laughlin is like Laughlin, Laughlin.
Laughlin.
USA.com. For years, we had companies outside the United States who had Laughlin International, Laughlin USA. So, send me an email and let's
That's great.
let's do something.
Thanks for your time, Aaron, and your wisdom. Like I've learned in business myself, if I coach people, I can keep them out of so much trouble because I made a lot of mistakes along the way. And a lot of it was trust, but not verify. Those are one of the things. So when you read somebody's book who's been there, you're going to pick up those things that'll stop you from making those very same mistakes. So thanks for being here, Aaron.
Thanks, Jeff. Always good to be with
All
you.
right. Yeah, same here.